The research agenda for agrarian sociology, as published in the book, is not surprising in its part, but most remarkable in the combination of its key elements. First, it's a comparative approach based on an empirical focus and a methodological pragmatism. Second, it's a public agrarian sociology that develops in interaction with social activism around farming. Third, it's a critical sociology that raises questions about mainstream modernization and development interventions. And fourth, it's an agrarian sociology that also includes a sociology of technology and nature. So building on these four key elements, we identify 6 research teams. The first one is about work and labor and continuous research on the gender division of labor, pluriactivity, diverse livelihoods, and the politics of production within the labor process. The second team is about nature-society relationships, regenerative agriculture, and so on. And the third is about the role of technology and knowledge in agrarian sociology, or in agriculture. And the last 3 themes concerns issues related to social property relations of production, politics, resistance, and social justice, and markets as lived experiences. Elements of a broad agenda, of this broad agenda, are not unique at all. Many scholars in the world do it, but what RSO makes a special place, it's the combination of this broad range of contemporary research team in one place. This written agrarian sociology research agenda, as published in the book, is a rather nuanced, balanced, and comprehensive overview of ongoing and future research. So I would like now to make a shift and make a more personal, unnuanced, blunt statement about the research need that did get less attention in the book. And I think it's urgent for agrarian sociology to address as the main question for future research how to feed the 9 billion people. When I defended the urgency of this question in another form, I was fiercely criticized how I dared to raise it. I was reprimanded vehemently for raising the wrong question. I was put on a par with technocratic and productivist approaches that have popularized this question. But it does not make it the wrong question. Maybe it only says that some people provide the wrong answer. Rejections of the question use the argument that the problem of hunger and feeding the world is not one of production, but of distribution. Maybe others find the question irrelevant because they think to know the answer. Small-scale food networks, agroecology, and so on. I think, however, that both these rejections are relevant, make relevant points, but are insufficient contributions. I see several reasons for bringing back this question, how to feed the 9 billion, into agrarian sociology. First, the outcome of modernized capitalist agriculture is cheap food, based on cheap labor and cheap nature and energy. Cheap food cannot simply become expensive food. Expensive food may be needed to have a just reward for labor and also to covering the costs for making agriculture less extractivist, more regenerative. Many poor in the world would suffer when food would become more expensive, which would strengthen also right-wing populist and authoritarian politics. So will any alternative for industrialized agriculture be able to produce cheap food? Second reason, the question suggests that many problems lie at a global scale. Bigger problems, longer relationships. We cannot just think these away by just focusing on local alternative food networks. Third, the question points at production, technology, and innovation. Productivity and yields remain a problem for many farmers and regions in the world, and often they call for more science to solve problems. So issues like productivity and efficiency should become also sociological, or should be sociological, or are sociological issues. And finally, the question's global scope brings back in other levels of politics, the state, agribusiness, international agreements, and so on. A level that I think currently receives less attention in Wageningen rural sociology. Okay, that's my point.